Hey guys, little note about today's video. So in the first part, I conclude my review of the Noom health and wellness app. However, I've been on a Norm Macdonald kick on YouTube lately, so I refer to Noom as Norm a couple times in this video. Please excuse that. You guys enjoy the video. Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Hayden coming at you again. It's been a while, so I'm actually coming at you remotely from my car because my family's in my house and I needed some privacy for this. So, four main things I wanted to talk about today. First and foremost, I want to address is Norm, the health and wellness app. I want to give my final verdict on that and finally get that closed out. Then I want to talk about just overall health and wellness, which is tied into Norm for sure. Third thing I want to talk about is this new job that I started at the beginning of January. Let you know how that went and that whole experience. Then tied directly into that, and to finish us off, I want to talk about what comes next for me personally and where my mind is. So to start it off with Norm, I know back in December I had started a 2-week free trial of Norm, the health and wellness app, and my big question was, is it worth the $129 every 3 months? Hold up everybody, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video for a second right there. As I was editing and in the process of uploading this video, came across some new information that's really important, and I definitely want to put that here before you go any further with this video and hear any more information from me. So with that said, I noticed a couple comments from a previous video. Now, up to this point, I've been stating that Noom is $129 reoccurring every 3 months, and it appears that while that may not be completely accurate, there are some other pricing plans that I found online that I do want to share with you now. And big props to Heather Robbins and Miss CC Miller, because their conversation in the comment section first brought my attention to this and allowed me to get the right information, which I'm able to deliver to you now in time. So I didn't release that video with that incorrect or that less than correct information. So with that said, let's look at the different pricing plans for Noom on their website. Alright, so as you can see everybody, Noom has a couple different pricing plans. You can do a monthly, 2-month, all the way up to an annual. And obviously, as it says down at the bottom, the monthly price decreases as you commit to a longer period of time. Now, look at these. I can see the one that I was on, which was right there in the middle, that 4-month auto reoccurring plan for $129. That's what I was originally given as an estimate when I went through and completed my Noom profile the first time I ever did my free trial. Now, you can see that monthly starts at $60, what's technically $59, and goes up from there. We have an 8-month for $159, a 2-month for $99. Now, the one that I'm seeing that I wish I'd seen before, and it doesn't sway my final verdict, but that $199 for an annual auto reoccurring plan, if you're already going to spend the $129 every 4 months, if you could bump that up $70 more and have it for the entire year, that one seems the most tempting to me. It makes the most sense based on what I know now after doing the 2-week free trial. With that said, with tax refund time coming up, it doesn't look too bad. The others, I definitely don't see doing the monthly for $60, or really any of the others. Maybe the 6-month one, but really, if you're going to commit for 6 months to something, and if you do the 2-week free trial and you see what I mean, how well it really keeps you on track there, that annual auto reoccurring plan for $199, maybe a really good investment if you're looking to invest in your health for 2020 with those tax refunds coming in there. So now, with that said, thank you, Heather. Thank you, Miss CC. I'm going to send you back to me in my car for my final verdict here and the rest of the video. So, you guys take care. Reoccurring price, and I was trying to figure that out. And I finally, when I came to the end of that 2 weeks, I went ahead and I canceled my subscription to Norm because I decided that for me, $129 every 3 months was not feasible. It didn't seem like something that I needed to spend my money on. And I thought that I could take the tools that I got from Norm and do it on my own. So the conclusion of this whole thing is, I would recommend doing the 2-week free trial for sure. I think you've got nothing to lose. You get things like that one-on-one trainer, the activities every morning to kind of keep your mind right, I think are awesome. And then the food tracking, but also specifically the caloric density tool. I think that's pivotal in my success that I had while I was on Noom. Now, talking about my experience after Noom, remember I've tried to replicate what I'd had on the app after I'd canceled my 2-week trial, and it worked for a short time. However, I had a lot of trouble with tracking caloric density because there really aren't that many apps out there that allow you to do that like Norm does. That and some other things, mainly starting my new job, I just fell off it, and I gained back the weight that I'd lost with Noom. So keep that in mind. My advice would be definitely do that 2-week trial to see how you like it and see how it fits with your life. And then if you can afford that $129 every 3 months, and I mean like comfortably afford it, keeping in mind that it's an app, the subscription may be right for you, but I think it's definitely subjective, and it wasn't right for me. Even now that I know the outcome, if I had an extra $129 to throw at this every 3 months, I think I would do it though. So there you go. There's your final verdict on Noom. Now moving right along from that to health and fitness, health and wellness. So my diet and my exercise, like I said, after I started this job and after my experience with that 2-week trial of Noom, I slipped back, and it really just started really at the beginning of January when my new job started. I didn't have free time to, throw at diet and exercise, and the time that I did have, I was so mentally exhausted from just, learning a new job and focusing on this and trying to find that balance that I let it slip like I've done many times before. And, I've talked about it before, but once you get in that rut, it's a lot easier to just stay in that rut instead of like digging your way out of it. And so I really got into this failure mindset. And this relates back to why I haven't concluded my Norm trial video in a long time. Got into this mindset where, you fail at something for so long. First and foremost, like diet, people who yo-yo diet, myself included, you fail so many times that you start to think, why even try? Like, maybe I'm just not cut out for this, right? This is not something I'm meant to succeed at. And you get into that mindset. With Noom, it was the thing like, well, you haven't done it in 2 weeks. Why should you even do it at all? You haven't done it in 3 weeks. You haven't done it in a month. So why in the world should you even do this? Why even make a video? It's just not your thing. You're not good at it. Don't do it. Put it off. Forget about it. And started to realize really yesterday, but it's been coming for a while, that, if I'm failing so much at this diet and exercise, why in the world do I keep doing it? Why do I keep trying? Why not just accept it? And I started to realize that it's not so much about failing, I don't think, anymore. I don't think it's about how many times you fail or in how many different ways you manage to fuck something up. But it's just that simple fact of coming back to fail again and again and again each time, and making the decision to come back and fail again. And I think every time you come back at a situation after you failed, you come back a little wiser, with a little more experience, a little more knowledge, and it changes the experience, and doesn't necessarily mean that you get closer to your goal. In fact, you may be farther away from it, but it's different and you're changed because of it. So that's kind of where my mindset is, and that's main reason that I sat down and I did this video today, because I was just done. I was done in that failure mindset. I decided I just had to come back to it, and just close it out and complete it. So with that said, let's talk about the new job that I started in January. Flat out, the job didn't fit with my lifestyle. I couldn't make it balance with my family, my health, and then what that job needed. I felt like I was stretched. To use a quote from Lord of the Rings, I felt like I was, spread thin, like butter, scraped over too much bread. My emotional energy was just at surface level. My physical energy and my mental energy, I fell back on using a lot of energy drinks and supplements again. It's never good when you have to depend solely on that. And then just the family. So with 2 young babies, I wasn't getting enough sleep, and it started to affect everything, my family and my job. And so ultimately, we decided that it didn't work out. So with that said, it's a different feeling coming away from this job that I've done for about a year now. It started out as teaching, and then this position was supervising. And it really got me thinking about what drove me to make this decision to have this job, because it's completely different from teaching, where I'm doing what I love. I'm connecting with people, different people every day, and I'm using my hands, I'm using my body, I'm presenting, I'm acting in a way. This is a desk job, and I knew from my previous experience that that's not a good fit for me. But what really drove me, and when I was really finally honest with myself, the reason that I wanted to do this job was the money. It was the most money I'd ever made. It was a salary position, and because of that money, I could keep my family home full time. I could keep my wife home with my kids, which is something that is really important for me, to not have them in a daycare. That said, relying solely on money as your source of motivation, I found out it wasn't sustainable. Not for me, at least. I missed, working and being close with people and having that one-on-one interaction with my students. And so that's why ultimately I couldn't make it last. And so now I'm in an area of flux here, because I'm trying to figure out what comes next, what to do next in life. I'm also taking a lot away from that whole experience. Especially when it comes to narrating my story. The story that we tell ourselves about our lives. Do we fill it with, positive or negative language? Are we hyperbolic in our language? And that's one of the main things, one of the many good things that I took away from this whole experience with this organization. So I'm coming away wiser. I interact differently with the world around me because of my experience teaching and supervising. I'm much more active, warm, and direct with everything and everyone around me. And I think it comes across in my language and how I hold myself when I speak. That makes me confident that I will strive and I'll succeed in whatever comes next. But talking about what comes next, for the first time, I'm paying attention to what gives me fulfillment, what gives me a purpose in my life. Ever since I was young, these past 5 years, really, since my kids have come along, I've done what's necessary. And really, I've let what is considered the right thing by me or by society really dictate my choices. And because of that, I've had a ton of regret. And regret's an awful thing to live with. And it's something that, it's one of my driving factors, is just dying with a lot of regret, having things that I wanted to do that I put off because they weren't necessary, and there were other things that needed to be done, other priorities. And I've seen in just the 5 years of my work experience how awful of an effect that has on you mentally, emotionally, and also on the loved ones around you. My family suffered tremendously when I'm not happy, because although I try to push it down and hide it, it seeps through and it comes to the surface. So going forward, I've really had time. I really want to take time to pay attention to what I want to do and what makes me happy. And I've learned a lot. What makes me happy, and especially what makes me unhappy. I know I don't like sitting at a desk 8 hours a day. I know that really, really doesn't work for me. I also know that I love working with my hands. I love connecting with other people. And I love books and learning and reading and bettering myself. So for this next couple weeks, luckily it worked out. We have our tax return coming in shortly, and that will give me a little cushion to think. I really think and take my time about what I want to do going forward. But I feel good about it. You know, it's weird. People always say, like, you know, like when you don't know what's next, it really freaks you out and you really get into this stress mindset. I know my wife falls into that a lot, and I used to be that way too. But after this whole experience with this job, it's different. It's different. I view the world in a different way. You know, I know that I could go out and I could get a job tomorrow doing construction or working at a convenience store. I could get a good job if I wanted. I have all the skills and the tool set there to do that. But I really need to pay attention to what's going to make me happy and what's going to give me fulfillment in my life, because it will really affect the rest of my life and all the people around me. So that's where my mindset is now. And one of the things that I did today, talking about, you know, failing, was coming back and doing this video. So now I can close this out and move on from that. So that's where I am right now. And I just wanted to come in and check in with you guys, because it's been a month, about a little over a month. So I hope all is well with you, and I hope you're finding success in 2020. This is still my year, and I'm still going to make it great. So I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but I'm figuring it out, and I'm taking my time to figure it out so I get it right. So, and if I fail, I'll get back up and I'll come back and I'll fail again, because that's what you do. Because otherwise you just lay down and give up, and I don't think that's ever been in me to do that. So with that said, hopefully I kept this around 10 minutes. I'm going to go back home and think and spend time with my family and really pay attention to what it is that brings me happiness, and I'm going to follow that path. So with that said, you guys have an awesome day. I may see you later. With that said, take care.